Colin Kaepernick has been upset since he has not been mentioned in the news recently. So he decided to come out and call another group of people racist, and it just so happened to be the closest group of people to him.
His journey embracing his blackness, despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents love me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit of armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted cornrows to match. He's getting what roles, his mom asked?
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look like a little thug.
Your mom said that to you.
Yeah. And those become spaces where it's like, okay, how do I navigate this situation now? But it also is informed why I have my hair long today.
The grown-up version of Eve wanted to go back in time and give young Colin a lot of hugs. And I was really moved and saddened by the level of kind of self-awareness that he had to develop at a very young age without a lot of guidance.
The former NFL quarterback who once led the 49ers to the Super Bowl was known in high school for his baseball. The pitcher even had major league interest, but he bucked public pressure and followed his heart to the gridiron.
There were a lot more black people in football that I was like, I found some community here.
Do you still want to play football professionally?
Absolutely. I woke up this morning before our events, trained 5-6 days a week. Still up at 4:30. I go get my training in. That passion is still there, and the ability is still there.
So the white people who chose to adopt him as a black kid and drove him to success are now racist just because they had an opinion that he didn't like. Make that make sense. But this is a trend that's been going on for the last couple of years where white kids are calling out their white parents, and even mixed race kids are calling out the one white parent that they have for being racist. Take what happened a few months ago where this young lady came out and called her dad racist just because he voted for Donald Trump.
She's eulogizing her father, who she called a Trump-loving racist.
But Dad, please know that while I am grateful and highly aware of all that you've given this family, I still don't miss you. When you died, I felt like there was a hole. I missed something, but it wasn't you. It was the idea of what you could become. I miss being able to hope and wish that one day you turn a corner and see the world from my perspective. I miss the idea that one day you might help me fight for the things that matter. I missed my fantasy of you. Because when you died, it solidified the fact that you'll never be what you could have been, but only what you are. And what you are is a racist, misogynistic, xenophobic, Trump-loving, cis-straight white man. That is all you will ever be to me. And Dad, before you tell me to respect the dead, please remember that you disrespected and disregarded the lives and deaths of entire communities of people with your ideology. You told me to never back down, so I won't. You know for a fact that even against you, I'm not afraid to share my peace. You are everything I aspire not to be, and I refuse to stand up here and sing the praises of a man who was the paradigm of white supremacy. So I'll take your racist mindset, I'll take your money, and I'll take your advice. And I swear to God I will make this world a better place. Not at all because of you, but in exact opposition to you. Thank you.
It's funny how if you voted for Donald Trump, even if you're black, you're considered racist against other black people. But if you voted for Joe Biden, you're not. But Joe Biden's still the same individual who said that he didn't want busing because he didn't want his children being part of a racial jungle. He's the same individual who sponsored the 1994 crime bill, which got a lot of young black men locked up. And he's still the same person that said, if you don't vote for him, then you're not black. That just seems a little racist to me. But the word racist is only used and is being weaponized when the left and the corporate media seems that it's needed. And it's only needed when it's white on black crime or when it's white officers against black people. But when minorities are being affected by other minorities and there are no white people involved, you don't hear them mentioning the race of an individual. Like, let's take what happened in Mexico where 4 Americans, says the news media, were kidnapped and 2 of them were killed.
Tragedy in Mexico. 2 of the Americans who were kidnapped after crossing the border are back in the U.S. this morning. And you're looking live at the hospital where one of them is being treated in Brownsville, Texas. The other 2 Americans were killed. Matt Rivers is in Mexico City with the latest for us. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Michael. One person has already been detained in this case, but with so many U.S. law enforcement agencies putting pressure on their Mexican counterparts to find who is responsible here, more arrests could be coming soon. This morning, 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped in Mexico now waking up on U.S. soil after surviving this horrific attack. Armed men seen loading the group onto a pickup truck in Matamoros Friday. Their other 2 friends did not survive.
2 U.S. citizens were returned to the United States. The bodies of 2 other U.S. citizens killed in the same incident were also recovered.
Eric James Williams and Latavia Tay McGee making it out alive. McGee seen here with law enforcement shortly after she was rescued. A convoy then taking the survivors to the border near Brownsville, Texas. The 2 then crossing over to a waiting ambulance. McGee's mother describing the moment she found out her daughter had survived.
I had to hold my heart. I was thinking the Lord. I said, thank you, Jesus. There is a God.
Williams now in a Brownsville, Texas hospital after undergoing surgery for multiple gunshot wounds to his legs. His wife, Michelle, able to speak with him briefly.
It was just tears of joy, I guess, that he's alive. I didn't even want to imagine what he was going through or, what any of them were going through.
2 other members of the group, Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown, tragically killed. Authorities finally finding the missing Americans after a 3-day manhunt, leading them to this wooden house in Lagunona, outside Matamoros. A 24-year-old man identified only by his first name, Jose, arrested. Mexican authorities say he was in charge of watching the Americans. According to her family, McGee had traveled with the others from Lake City, South Carolina to Mexico to get cosmetic surgery. When the 4 crossed into Matamoros on Friday, her family says armed gunmen in body armor chased them, opening fire on their white minivan. The gunmen then kidnapping the group. A Mexican bystander also killed. Mexican officials now believe the shooting and kidnapping was a case of mistaken identity. A source close to the investigation telling ABC News the gunmen may have targeted the vehicle because they wrongly believed the group of Americans were rival human traffickers.
So when I heard them say Americans at first, I assumed that it was white people going on vacation. But they didn't point out the fact that it was black individuals that were killed by Mexicans. And it's crazy how the cartel decided to come out and drop an apology. That makes no sense to me.
The Mexican drug cartel, claiming its members were behind the brazen kidnapping of 4 Americans last week, has apologized. 2 Americans were killed. The other 2 survived. In a letter obtained by the Associated Press, the cartel apologized to residents of Matamoros, a Mexican woman who was killed by a stray bullet, and the 4 Americans and their families. The letter also claimed the gang turned over its own members who were responsible to the authorities. State officials have not confirmed new suspects are in custody.
Where is BLM during all of this? Oh yeah, they only care about situations where they can make money off of just so they can buy $1 million mansions. It's never a situation where black people are being lost to other black people or other minorities. It's always when it's a white officer involved and a black person. And to tell the truth, I would support a war against the Mexican cartel before I support a war against Ukraine and Russia, because I'm not over there and Mexico is right on the border. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? Do you believe that Colin Kaepernick's parents are racist, or do you think that he's just reaching for straws and he just wants to stay relevant? And also, do you think racism or the word racist is being thrown around a little too much, especially when it's convenient for the left? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm your host, TJ Evans, with another installment of the TJ Evans Show. Y'all remember to do the Rumble and the YouTube thing. Subscribe to the Royal Family Studios page. Also, do your own research. Don't take my word for gold, and check out my book on Amazon, The Diary of Marvin and DeWayne. Peace.